On this Tuesday, February 7th edition of Newswatch, stay tuned to learn about the prostitution arrest at Baylor University.
And hear about the U.S. Army's easement plan along the Dakota Access Pipeline.
And I'll give you the latest in Iowa State athletics, as well as a recap of the remarkable comeback in Super Bowl 51. And later, Jen has the weather.
Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your night and week. Stay classy, Cyclones.
Welcome to Newswatch. I'm Hunter Smith.
And I'm Taylor Mankel. Thanks for joining us. Reports from Amnesty International alleges that thousands of inmates in a Syrian prison have been hanged. The report says this is in response to a secret crackdown on dissent by the Bashar al-Assad regime. The prison that lies just north of the capital city of Damascus is said to play a role in the part of a hidden campaign authorized by senior regime figures. Amnesty's report is a culmination of a year-long search which includes 84 witnesses. Some estimate near 13,000 people have been hanged.
Vice President Mike Pence cast a final tie-breaking vote to confirm Nancy DeVos as the next Secretary of Education. Pence's vote is the first time in U.S. history that the Vice President has broken a tie for a cabinet nominee after 2 Republicans voted against DeVos. DeVos's nomination for Education Secretary has been on the hot seat throughout the nominating process, not only by Democrats, but the teachers union and much of the education community. Critics called out her lack of experience in public education and her efforts to start school vouchers. DeVos is just the 5th of Trump's cabinet nominees to be approved by the Senate, while at this time 8 years ago, 11 of Obama's picks were approved and 14 of George W. Bush's picks were approved 16 years ago.
Ahead of the upcoming court hearings from the travel ban put in place by President of the United States Donald Trump and the executive branch, Trump has been very vocal in that this country needs this ban. Earlier today, Trump expressed that this ban is very important for the country if it wishes to be successful, and he is willing to fight for it all the way to the Supreme Court. Trump's executive order placed last month stopped citizens from 7 countries from coming into the United States.
The governor of Louisiana declared a state of emergency today due to an outbreak of tornadoes that went through New Orleans, leaving a wake of destruction. No deaths have been reported, but 25 people have been taken in to receive care for mostly minor injuries. Eastern New Orleans has faced the heaviest damage from the disasters. Many residents are coming home to their houses and cars being turned completely upside down. The storms ripped through the Gulf Coast, also hit Little Rock, Arkansas, with hail and generated winds as high as 62 miles an hour that traveled across western Tennessee.
Baylor University fired their newly hired assistant strength and conditioning coach after he was arrested on a prostitution solicitation charge. Brandon Washington was fired Saturday after school officials found out that he had been arrested earlier that day. This is just the latest of developments at a school which has been tarnished by a series of sexual assault scandals. Baylor officials stated that Washington did go through a full background check. The university faces multiple federal lawsuits as well as a civil rights investigation into claims that the school and football program ignored, mishandled, or covered up sexual or physical assault. Baylor officials have apologized to the victims and said they are improving how they respond to sexual assault.
First Lady Melania Trump is suing the Daily Mail on a defamation claim that she was an elite escort. The First Lady is seeking $150 million from the news outlet, arguing that Melania's brand has been damaged and impacted major business opportunities. The White House has taken the First Lady's former QVC line off of her biographical page. Melania's attorney Charles Harder is seeking redress for the commercial harm done to her, her commercial brand, and her business opportunities. It is unclear if the First Lady will launch any more products.
San Francisco just announced free community college education for its residents. Mayor Ed Lee announced that residents will be granted free education regardless of their income. The program will be funded with a new tax on sales of property sold for at least $5 million. San Francisco is the first city in the nation to offer this to their residents.
In her first public statement since the inauguration, Hillary Clinton released a video statement with the message, "The future is female." The video was made for the Makers Conference, a California gathering focused on women's leadership. The former Democratic presidential nominee brings this issue to light after millions of demonstrators took part in women's marches last month. She said that this world needs strong women to step up and speak out, and asked conference attendees to set an example for women and girls who are worried about what the future holds.
Coming up after the break, hear about a shooting in Iowa City that left a man dead.
Stay tuned. You're watching Newswatch.
Break. State lawmakers argued late into the night trying to decide on the budget for an education funding boost. The discussion ended with a proposed $40 million bump for state education, which translates to a 1.1% increase from last year. Many lawmakers were split as Democrats were fighting for a 4% increase, while the Republicans were fighting for the past 1.1% increase. Next, the law will go to the desk of Governor Terry Branstad for approval.
The Iowa City Police Department responded to the Pheasant Ridge apartment complex around 5:30 p.m. Monday to a report of shots fired and a body on the ground. An investigation found that a man was shot in the parking lot of the apartment complex, and police believe he is the only victim. The victim is in stable condition, and no one has been arrested following the incident, according to the police department.
With the new proposed 20% import tax on all countries that face a deficit, like our neighbors to the south, Mexico, many states will be hit hard. Iowa is high on that list. According to a Wallet Hub study, Iowa will be the 10th most damaged from the so-called trade war between the United States and Mexico. Approximately 16% of all Iowa trade is with Mexico. Iowa would also rank 7th in imports lost, as the state usually sees a lot of fruits and vegetables come from the country.
Iowa officials plan to oppose a bill proposed by Iowa Secretary of State Paul Pate that would require voter identification at the polls and make other changes to the state's election system. The group voted Friday to register against the bill and form a committee that would create changes against the bill. Pate said in a statement that he was disappointed by the group's decision. He called his bill a comprehensive package that calls for more accountability.
The U.S. Army has informed Congress that they plan to give an easement to the Dakota Access Pipeline to finish construction. The easement not only allows them to resume construction, it also gives them total control to do whatever they want on private land that the pipeline crosses. The protesters at Standing Rock Reservation, who have been fighting this for about a year now, plan to continue the fight on site and in court. This is coming after President Trump made it clear early on in his presidency that he wanted this pipeline construction to resume.
The weather has been pretty nice these past couple of days, but today was pretty chilly.
It was a little chilly, and Jan's got the whole weather forecast for us coming up after this on Newswatch.
A pretty cold day for us. The warmest part of our day actually this morning, 42 is where we were this morning, 49 down in Des Moines. But as we went through the day, it just cooled down, and now we are sitting at 24 degrees here in Des Moines right now. That humidity is sitting at 77%. So as we see that humidity start to increase overnight, we do have a chance for a few areas of patchy fog in the morning. So be sure to watch out for that as you head out for your day tomorrow. Again, around the state, those temperatures in the mid-20s up to the north, upper teens, 19 there in Fort Dodge, 16 in Mason City right now. And lots of cloud cover as we go through the night. And if you look over here to the west, a little bit of snow trying to start creeping in, and we're going to see that as we continue on through the night. We'll take a look at that here on Futurecast. So you'll see it just kind of dip down and reach across the southern part of the state, but gone by tomorrow morning here at 7 a.m. But then we do have another second batch over here that's going to sneak through the state in the early morning hours. So definitely a chance for snow to accumulate overnight, and a little bit more for flurries tomorrow as you go throughout your day. Then as we go through our Thursday, we'll start to see these clouds clearing out and leaving us with plenty of sunshine in the end there. Taking a look at what we are expecting from this system, these numbers might be a little bit high. This one looking at 1.5 inches here in Ames, 2 inches down in Des Moines. Those higher readings out to the west with those 3-inch readings, but depending on how this system shifts, it could shift more southerly and leave us with just a trace of snow here in Ames. So definitely something to keep our eyes on as we go through tonight and the morning hours tomorrow. Tonight, though, those lows again dipping down into the upper teens, 16 there in Marshalltown, 21 Ottumwa, and 19 there in Des Moines. Tomorrow, highs just like we are right now. It's not really warming up like we did today. 22 in Marshalltown, 25 in Des Moines, and 24 over in Council Bluffs. Though for Ames tonight, we'll see 16. Those snow chances, like I said, in the early morning hours, pretty blustery for our night and staying blustery tomorrow. Those winds out of the northwest, 10 to 20 miles an hour, maybe even stronger gusts, and 22 for our high tomorrow in Ames. Looking at the rest of the week, though, we do have those snow chances there on Wednesday. A little bit warmer there on Thursday, but much, much warmer Friday and Saturday. Looking at 50s for our Friday, and then lots of sunshine returns for the start of next week. Stay tuned. There'll be more news after the break.
Newswatch, I'm Cope Gaines with your sports report. Iowa State basketball accomplished something special on Saturday that has only been done 9 times in the past 12 years. They won at Allen Fieldhouse. Iowa State won against number 3 ranked Kansas 92-89 in overtime. Against Kansas, Iowa State was firing from the three-point line. They went 18 of 34 from behind the arc. Iowa State was led by forward Deontay Burton with 7 threes from downtown. Mama, there goes that man. 34 three-point attempts is a lot of shots, but that is what ISU basketball is all about. Just 3 days later, Iowa State, who was 14 of 18, 6 of 4 in the Big 12, travels to Austin, Texas to take on the Texas Longhorns, who are 9 of 14 and 3 and 7 in the Big 12 at 8 p.m. tonight in Austin. You can watch the game on ESPN2. Longhorns, who are 9th in the Big 12 conference standings. Iowa State beat them back on January 7th, 79-70. Iowa State cannot let up on Texas, especially it being an away game. The Big 12 conference has definitely taken its toll on Iowa State, but they can prove their dominance over the next 2 weeks. Iowa State currently sit 4th in the Big 12 conference with only West Virginia, Baylor, and Kansas in front of them. They can get one last chance to face Baylor and West Virginia in the next weeks, who are currently ranked 6th and 13th. Iowa State is ready to get back to the winning ways, and that game at Allen Fieldhouse was just the start. Cyclone football announced today the hiring of Eric Core as Assistant Director of Scouting and Recruiting Operations. Core's most recent role was at Ohio University, where he was Director of Player Personnel and High School Relations. He was part of the staff that helped the University of Ohio win the MAC East Division with a 6-2 conference record in 2016. Core also had experience working in the NFL as well. He was part of the video team for the Detroit Lions from 2013 to 2014, who went 7-9 and were 3rd in the NFC North. Core will be a great part of the ISU football. He has a good background experience of what it takes to bring the best student athletes for Cyclone Nation. The Iowa State gymnastics team is ranked in the top 25 for the first time in 2 years. Iowa State took the 25th spot after a dominating performance in a tri-meet last weekend against Cincinnati and Southeast Missouri, where they put up a score of 195.775. The Cyclones' next chance to continue the rise in the rankings is this Friday in Columbia, Missouri. Iowa State will face Lindenwood, number 13 ranked Missouri, and number 14 ranked George Washington. Take it home, girls. A new Super Bowl champion reigns in the National Football League. The New England Patriots defeated the Atlanta Falcons 34-28 in Super Bowl 51. In an overtime thriller, the Patriots raced a 25-point deficit comeback, and the Super Bowl, that was the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history after being down 21-3 in the first half. The game was forced into overtime after running back James White completed the comeback for the Patriots on a 2-yard touchdown. James set Super Bowl records with 20 points scored, 14 receptions, and capping the enormous comeback with his overtime touchdown run. Tom Brady, the 5-time Super Bowl champion quarterback, was named the most valuable player of the game. Rightfully so, as Brady completed 43 of 62 passes for 466 yards and 2 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. And now has 5 Super Bowl championships, which is the most ever for a quarterback. The only problem is behind the story is finding that man's jersey. That's all I have for your sports report. Be sure to stay tuned to hear about how an iconic role has a new face. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Newswatch.
TMZ, 8-year-old Maddie was underwater for several minutes and unconscious after the off-road vehicle flipped over. She was taken care of promptly and was airlifted to a nearby hospital. Maddie has regained consciousness as of Tuesday afternoon and is talking to family members.
The Tomb Raider is back, but fans will be getting a very different look. New photos have been released of Alicia Vikander taking on the iconic role of Lara Croft. Vikander told E! News that since the game was rebooted in 2013, the film will be very different to the original film starring Angelina Jolie. Tomb Raider hits theaters March 18th, 2018.
First, the Super Bowl, and now the Grammys. It was just announced that Grammy Award winner Lady Gaga will be performing with legendary band Metallica. Both Gaga and Metallica are no strangers to the Grammy stage. However, this will be the first time Metallica has performed at the awards show since 2014. Gaga attributed the last time she was at the Grammys to late singer David Bowie last year. You can catch this performance and more at the Grammys on Sunday, February 12th at 7 p.m. Central on CBS.
And that is all we have for
That's all we've got on this edition of Newswatch. You're good.
Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for more sports, news, weather.
Stay warm and have a great rest of your night, Ames.